Remember when Airbnb felt like the cheap way to travel? A spare room, a clean bed, a friendly host for significantly less than a hotel. I remember in 2015, I stayed in an Airbnb in Leadville, Colorado for 3 months, high up in the Rocky Mountains. Fully furnished, amazing views, and it cost just a little bit less than a standard monthly lease. That was the golden age. Light regulation, mostly amateur hosts, and no one pricing like a hedge fund. But today, the feeling is gone.
2015 was amazing. I stayed with the sweetest family in Oakland for just $50.
Excuse me. Mama, just go around her.
Prices today are often higher than hotels. Service fees are insane, and you might end up doing chores on vacation. So what happened? It was a series of intentional choices that turned a sharing platform into a profit machine. And understanding that shift is the only way to navigate travel today. Airbnb pulled off a major bait and switch that fundamentally changed what they were selling. And most people never noticed it happening. Rewind to 2008, the company was called Airbnb and helped launch the sharing economy. The model was brilliant. Hosts owned the homes and took the risks. Airbnb just connected people and took a fee. It was cheap because it used spare capacity. Here on the Airbnb homepage from 2008, the message was clear. Stay with locals when traveling cheap.
I rented out my empty tool shed back in 2008. Called it a meditation pod. City folks loved it.
But in 2009, less than 2 years after launch, Airbnb quietly dropped bed and breakfast from the name and became Airbnb. They started aggressively allowing entire homes and vacation rentals. Here's the critical difference. Renting a whole home isn't sharing. It's a commercial rental competing directly with hotels. Then in 2014 came Instant Book. No more messaging back and forth about your trip. No more vetting if you were a good fit for the space. Just one click and done. The platform started optimizing for transaction speed. The sharing economy was quietly becoming the convenience economy. And that shift opened the door to a very different type of host. And those hosts created something bizarre. Why did Airbnb hosts charge you $175 cleaning fee but still expect you to vacuum before you leave? Welcome to the era of Chore-cation, where your vacation ends with a giant list of chores. In the mid-2010s, that friendly Airbnb host that you remember was largely replaced by people and corporations that were optimizing for profit, not vibes. As Airbnb matured during the 2010s, renting an entire place became the norm. Hosts realized they weren't just making side money, they were running mini hotels. And they started charging like it. Cleaning fees showed up, service fees grew, but the base rates still looked friendly enough to click. In plenty of markets, these extras stacked 30 to 40% on top of what you first saw while browsing. But the real frustration is the expectation of labor combined with the fee.
If I'm folding towels and doing dishes on vacation, that Airbnb better come with benefits and a 401k match.
And it's not just the fees that got worse. Those amazing Airbnb deals that you used to find, software killed them. Here's exactly how algorithms eliminated every bargain on the platform. Airbnb became dominated by professional property managers during the 2010s. These guys took over a huge share of the listings, and these professionals don't guess what to charge. They plug everything into third-party dynamic pricing software. These revenue tools watch demand, seasons, concerts, festivals, holidays, even the number of views on a listing, and quietly tune the prices up.
You cleared your cookies to see the real price. Price increased to $600 for dishonesty. Do not open another tab. I'm warning you.
That underpriced loft you remember in 2017, that existed because a human guessed wrong about the market rate. Now the software ensures that almost never happens. Take a look at this ski cabin in Kirkwood, California. Yesterday, I priced what it would cost to stay for 2 nights from January 7th through 9th, 2026. The price was $1,541. Today, I checked the price for the exact same dates. The price is now $1,567. That is a $26 increase in price in less than 24 hours. Those are the games that Airbnb now plays. The cozy backstory of Airbnb stays in their marketing material, but the economics are now run by AI and algorithms. Cheap nights on Airbnb haven't disappeared entirely. They just become mistakes that the pricing software hasn't found and corrected yet. The technology was already gaining ground, but then a global event hit the fast forward button on the prices. The global pandemic fundamentally broke Airbnb pricing, and remote work is the reason why. Here's how COVID turned vacation rentals into something completely different. In 2020, travel stopped for a brief moment and then restarted with a vengeance. Suddenly, everyone wanted cabins in the mountains, beach houses, quick escapes just outside the city. But the biggest shift was remote work. It turned Airbnbs into backup apartments. By 2021, stays over 28 days doubled versus 2019 and became one of Airbnb's fastest growing use cases. Hosts and investors jumped on this immediately. This isn't hobby money. This is a legitimate asset class competing with long-term housing.
Why would I rent to locals for $2,000 a month when tourists pay $4,000 to sleep in my attic for 5 nights?
In December 2020, Airbnb went public at a sky-high valuation. From that day, the mission includes belong anywhere, but the homework for shareholders becomes grow revenue per night. The results were predictable. Between 2019 and 2023, average daily rates jumped 36%, while major hotel chains increased only by 19%. The demand shifted, Wall Street signed on, and the prices exploded. Regulators then stepped in due to the lack of fee transparency. Because of that pressure, Airbnb finally fixed their biggest complaint. Hidden fees are now shown upfront. But here's why this new transparency won't actually make your trip cheaper. After massive political heat on junk fees, new rules forced upfront honesty. Airbnb made the total price display the global default in April 2025. Now the nightly rate, cleaning, and platform fees are all baked into the first number you see before taxes. That's real progress. The jump scare you used to see at checkout has virtually disappeared. But it's cosmetic. Cleaning fees still exist, host and platform fees still exist, and profit expectations didn't go anywhere. Meanwhile, another layer was added: regulation. Cities started putting limits on stays. They added licensing, enforced taxes, and banned sketchy setups.
Looks suspicious. Send in the SWAT team. I need backup.
Stricter regulation was necessary for local housing, but it wiped out a lot of the wild, undermarket inventory that made early trips absurdly cheap. What's left at scale is either fully illegal or fully professional, and neither is in the charity business. Transparency is better, but the math has fundamentally changed. Those golden age rates were never coming back. The old cheap Airbnb is dead, but you can still win if you know how to game the system. Here's the exact playbook to beat the algorithm and find the remaining deals. First, save your brainpower and know when to walk away. Stop hunting for that 2015 experience. If you are traveling solo or as a couple for less than 3 nights, just book a hotel.
Hotels have gyms, bro. I can bench press without the host's grandma watching me through the window.
The math is cleaner, the service is standard, and you won't spend your vacation doing laundry. Save Airbnb for when you actually need the kitchen or the space. Next, you have to beat the machines by booking weird. The pricing software punishes you for convenience. So book 9 months in advance before the algorithm knows there's demand. Or book 48 hours before arrival when the hosts are desperate to fill a gap. And actively hunt for listings tagged new. New hosts are usually underpriced because they desperately need those first 5-star reviews before the software tells them to raise their rates. You can see here we have 3 1-bedroom, 1-bath options here in Salvador, Brazil. The new listing is more than 50% cheaper. Third, exercise your veto power over the chore list. Now that the total price is upfront, your job is to analyze the rules. Before you click reserve, read the checkout instructions. If they want you stripping beds while charging exorbitant rates, skip it.
The checkout list had 73 items, took 14 hours to complete, and I missed my flight. Host gave me 5 stars and then asked me to stop emailing.
And finally, get a human involved. If you're staying long term, let's say more than 28 days, use that as leverage. Message the host before you book and negotiate that rate. The algorithms hate human interaction, so use that against them. The play now isn't waiting for Airbnb to get nostalgic. It's exploiting the system that they built. Being cheap was the hook that drew us all in. But Airbnb isn't your friend. It's a search engine built to maximize profit. Stop treating it like a community and start treating it like a transaction. That's how you stop being the business model.
Automatic Addison.